Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kangsha Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnang Bande Jagadgurum. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I salute Lord Sri Krishna, the world teacher, the son of Vasudeva, the destroyer of Kamsa and Chanura, and the supreme bliss of Mother Devaki. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So, we were reading Bhagavad Gita, and this fourth chapter, and Sri Krishna said in the last verse we read, 14, where he says that I do work in the world, but I am always unattached. And this work and its results don't affect me. I have no taste for any results of the material result which it can bring. I am free from them. And knowing me thus, who can engage in life and perform their duties, they also will be freed from all bondage and not get attached to anything. So this is the last 14 verse on page 286. We read that. So the running translation was that, nor do actions taint me, the capital M, nor is the fruit of actions desired by me. He who thus knows me is not bound by action. Because we are talking about karma, we all live on karma. Our entire life is resonating around work, and no one in the world is without action. Even if they are even if the people are meditating, they are also doing karma. Even if the people who are not engaged in action and living in a cave in the Himalayas, they are also doing karma, because mental action, not the physical action but the mental action. So this is no one in the world is without karma, but by performing karma we are getting entangled into the world more and more, and the net impact of that karma is suffering and pain, which we are all subject to, that cycle of birth and death. Karma means birth and death. But how can we do karma at the same time be free, not to be born in the cycle of birth and death again? So he is saying, you see, I am here. I am the Lord God of the universe, Krishna. But look at me, I do all work. Actually he was behind the entire movement of all the war, of Kurukshetra war. He is standing behind, orchestrating everything. By his will he is going on. And he is a friend of Arjuna. And at the same time he is not unfriendly to Duryodhana, Dushasan. He is doing the duties, whatever is the responsibility, but everywhere with a smile in face, not attached to the end result of it, good or bad. So that is called spirituality. Spirituality means how in action, there will be inaction as it were. A person who does not do any action, we call is a person of inaction. So the inaction, a person as is peaceful in inaction, so he is in action. So he sees in action, inaction, and in inaction, action. That means in the Brahman, inaction is Brahman, in which action the world resonates, and in action, in the activity, there is no attachment, and that is the inaction. So action, inaction, in action, seeing inaction, and seeing in inaction, action. That means he does everything, but he never thinks he is doing. He is detached, he is unattached. So the results of this karma, whether good or bad, does not affect him. If we know God as such, we say God created God. God created, but he is unattached. He is out of his own joy he has created. All the good, bad happening from our perspective. From his perspective it is all the same reality. It is just in a play. And he is unaffected by this. So he says, if you know me thus, then you will also be freed from all the attachment and aversions, actions and reactions of life. Evam today we read verse number 25 on page 286. Evam gatva kritam karma, evam gatva kritam karma, purvairopi mumukshuvi, purvairopi mumukshuvi, kuru karmaiva tasmatvam, kuru karmaiva tasmatvam, purvair purvataram kritam, purvair purvataram kritam. Evam gatva, knowing such, how to do work in the life. Life's duties are always painful. Sometimes it is not so easy to perform our duties and do the thing rightly. But how to do karma? Knowing that you do your best and don't expect anything. Good, bad, whatever comes, accept as it is and be free from worries, anxieties, tension or gain and all the achievements which brings pride, free from everything, you enjoy. Work, doing the work, hands off. So, evam gatva, knowing this way, I, the Lord of the universe, I work, function this way. Kritam karma, this type, thinking this, the karma has been krita. The people have performed work. Purvairupi, much before, in past, mumuksuvi, those who are want to liberation, those who want freedom from bondage, those devotees have worked in the past following this formula. How? Do your karma, do your duties and feel you have no attachment to the consequences after your best effort done. And don't feel sorrow or don't feel excited whether it's good result, bad result or good result comes. So even following this path, I am the embodiment of that. But before me also, or centuries together, millennium together, mumukshuvi, those who are trying to realize or reach freedom, mukti, they have practiced this way. Purvai, or earlier days. And therefore you Arjuna, even in the war, you are fighting, your major crisis is that how can you fight, how can you kill your own friends? But it's a duty, in life's duty, though hard and difficult, do your duty, but don't expect anything what comes, detached, get detached. So, kuru karma eva, thus you also, O Arjuna, do karma, kuru karma eva, as purvai purvataram, as in your ancestor, your generations after generations before, the holy people, they have performed their action this way and got freed from all types of entanglement and bondage. So, this is the suggestion to Arjuna that how you work and at the same time be free. And it is also a lesson to us in our day-to-day life. Our life also we undergo so much of suffering and pain because of our attachment, because of our expectation. And that expectation is not, we may say it is, I did this work, I should get this honor, or I should get this fruit of what it can bring. But no, it does not happen. That finishing the work I then again suffer. So work is suffering, end result is suffering. But if I say, I did my duty with boldness and strength, and afterwards I don't care anything afterwards, then you have become free. So this is the path for performing work and to be free, enjoy freedom in life. So this is the direction Bhagavan Krishna is giving to us also, and you make me your goal, or if you don't like to make me, Krishna, your goal, you look at the earlier days, the sages and saints who have done tremendous work. Janaka was the king of a country, and he ruled the country, did his whatever duties, but at the same time he attained the freedom. So Janaka, being a king, doing his kingly duties, if he can realize the truth, he can be so detached. That Janaka, that story, Janaka was in the courthouse, and there were some holy people came, the monks and sadhus came, and then they start discussing about spiritual Vedantic principles. And that time somebody came and say, "Oh, your palace is in fire." Janaka responded, "What's that to me? Mithilayang, entire Mithila, the entire township, if it burns into ashes, what's that to me? I am untouched by heat, light, and burning or his soothing. I am not attached to anything." So how can he say that? How he did the karma in such a way, he ruled the country in such a way, his duties, performed his duties, but not affected by its gain and loss. So this is how this detachment. It is some passivity? No, it is most active action, because mind is very alert to understand that this duty is done, I do my duty, there are other people to take care. There is, fire has happened, what king will do? There is a fire department, they will look after that. So fire department's work, fire department will do. So I am now studying Vedanta, I will be studying Vedanta. So this is a very high level of detachment. But he's saying, see, and that is the way they enjoyed freedom of life. Mukti, the liberation. They are in the life, but they don't suffer so much because of this attitude. So you also follow that, follow the path of the ancestors, path of the holy people who did all karma and become freed from karma. Swami Vivekananda engaged the monastics in the action. In action. See, the sadhus should go into the Himalayan cave. Normal sadhus, characters, as you know in India, you look at that, they are wandering monks. They don't get entangled into any affairs of the society's problems. Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda put the monks to take the responsibility of the illiterate people, to give them education. This people in the fire, so to rescue them, to give them shelter. The flood, victims of the flood, give them food, clothing, utensils, buildings, and get engaged. Where is meditation there? They are all engaged into action. But we look that it is what is Bhagavad Gita is saying, how it is so practical, that produces Swami Lokeshwarananda. Just you see, a man of action, day and night, how much work one can do. It is really unbelievable. But you see the poise of his mind, his personality, he is doing everything, but everything detached. He was the head of the institution, no? Narendrapur. He created that institution. Such a huge institution, at least 2 bus stops are necessary to cover the land which Narendrapur occupies. No? It's an educational institution. And social service to the people, women's development, education and all this. He created that out of nothing. And when it was necessary, and our headquarters requested, President Maharaj requested him to come to Institute of Culture, Gold Park, to solve their problem. He just in just one small bag, what he has, just packed up and just came out. And he didn't go months together to visit even Narendrapur, what is his brainchild. Could you find this detachment? That's why he was so happy in every condition. He created everything. If I create some one-page writing, I write my name, my copyright. No, this is natural. I am not criticizing it, but it is our natural tendency. But Swami Lokeswarananda, a great, gross example before us, we saw that personality and how much detachment he has practiced, how much this karma yoga he has done in the proper spirit, that it gives him the total freedom from bondage. That doing everything, but hands off. Doing everything, hands off. So, not only that, this holy order has produced so many. See, Prabhupada Swami, this is just an example. Out of scratch, he came here and created all these centers and all these monasteries and convents. What type of activity? And what type of life he showed before. I have not the opportunity to be close to see those things, but you are there. So that leads, this philosophy is so correct. Work can be done in such a way that it will not bind us, but it will be a path to liberation and freedom. So, having known thus, even the ancient seekers after freedom performed action. Therefore, do you perform your action as did the ancients in the olden times. That means the tradition is going on, you follow the path of that tradition, that do the work. So the note says, the knowing aspirant abandons egoism and desire. He does not give up karma, that's the point. Karma is not given up, but what one is to give up, do the karma with abandon ego. I am the doer. That I is to be abandoned, and the desire, I do out of my craving, I want this to achieve. Yes, that will be good. I achieve, I have a goal of life. Of course, every karma must have a goal, but not to fulfill my personal desire. So it is done for God, that's why not for I. And the desire for the good of others, and that if it happens, happens, does not happen, that's also okay. So these are the two conditions. The seekers of freedom walked this way through ages. So ages together in India, this path of doing karma in this way has been done by people of following the path of liberation. This principle has not been enunciated newly. This principle has not been enunciated newly for the sake of Arjuna. Why was then he was confused on this issue? There are nothing strange in it. So the fact is that why? Now the point is, if you say that ancients also performed the work in this way, and I, Krishna, am performing the same way, then why we people are confused? Why we don't follow their path? Where is the problem? Why we cannot perform our all action? If the old tradition was there, they performing work, they become liberated. Why I cannot do? Why you cannot do? That question comes. To respond to that, this 16th verse is being spoken on page 287. So he says, Bhagavan says, Kim karma, kim akarmeti, kim karma, kim akarmeti, kavayo opi atra mohita, kavayo opi atra mohita, tatte karma prabhakshyami, tatte karma prabhakshyami, jajgatva moksham se ashubhat jajgatva moksha se ashubhat. So, king karma, we are puzzled. We do not know what to do. In our life's situation, sometimes we get puzzled. What is my karma? What is my duty? King karma, what I should do. Kim akarma, what I should not do. It is even intelligent people, kabayo means intelligent people, they get confused. Mohita, they get confused. So, what is karma? Action to be done. What is akarma? Inaction, or what not to be done. In this issue, kabayo, even the sages, the wise people, they also be mohita. They get moho, that is deluded, confused. Tat karma. Therefore, I am here, Krishna, telling you, tat, that ideal, te karma pravakshami. I'll say what is to be done. Tat te karma pravakshami. And if you really listen, judge gatva, know what I am going to tell you, if you really contemplate on that and feel and know, then moksha se ashubha. You will be able to free yourself, liberate yourself from all ashubha, what is inauspicious. That means you will be able to free yourself from all ignorance, all bondage. So this is the path. So king karma, kim akarmeti, what is karma and what is akarma? Sages too are perplexed as to what is action and what is inaction. And therefore I shall tell you what action is, and by knowing which you shall be freed from evil. So that is the verse number 16. This note says, the worst of all evil is that pertaining to the wheel of birth and death. To put an end to this endless evil, the way of action should be understood. Because it says that we are in the cycle of birth and death. Buddha says, no? Punarapi, Sankaracharya says, Punarapi jananam, Punarapi maranam, Punarapi janani, jathare shayanam. Again and again to be born, again to be dying, again to be born in the mother's womb. This cycle of birth and death endlessly goes on and on and on. And we suffer, and we don't learn, again we suffer, again we suffer. Shall we go on continuing that? Then what is the way out of it? So that's why the worst of all evil is that pertaining to the wheel of birth and death, because we are all in the cycle of birth and death. To put an end to this endless evil, this is the endless evil, desire. Why I am born? Because I desire. If I have no desire, I can be not moving. Say, I've given an example, if I don't need any grocery to purchase, I don't go to Trader Joe's, I remain in my home. Inaction, I remain inactive. But if I need something, if I need anything, I go to Costco, we go to this place, we go to... Why? Because we need that thing, that's why it is prompting and forcing me to go. If I don't need anything, then why? Then you become inaction. So, here is the question, to put an end to this endless evil, evil of desiring and getting it and dissatisfied, again desiring something and getting it, and again doing something to get something, again there is also frustration. So will it go on, continue endlessly, where we can put an end to it? So it says the way of action should be understood. Therefore, work is not the problem. Work is not binding us. But how to work, we do not know. Misunderstanding about the working principle, is the cause of our suffering, cause of our birth and death, cause of our all the agonies and achievements, failures, all this. So therefore, we should make an end to the cycle of birth and death because it is painful. If someone says, why are you asking us to be free from cycle of birth and death? Yeah, because if you are happy with birth and death, that's okay. Then you need not have to study this book. But if you feel That birth means so much suffering, growth means so much suffering, and end result is frustration, frustration, frustration. So how can I get out of the frustration? How can I be established my eternal joy? If that is the goal, then you will have to do something to stop this desire. And desire not, we shouldn't, how can we live without desire? Well, no, you can desire the big. Your desires should not be petty desires. If you have to desire infinite joy. Why are you desiring petty joy? So the infinite joy to have that infinite joy, to give up the infinite levels of pettiness. All the small desires, it does not satisfy, it does not satisfy. It doesn't. So I want that infinite joy. So that karma should be tending us towards that. To put an end to this endless evil, the way of action is to be understood. It should not be thought that merely toiling to the utmost in the way of karma. It should not be thought that merely toiling to the utmost is the way of karma. So, then that's why 17th verse on page 288, it tells us, Bhagavan Krishna says, Karmano hi opi bodhavyam, karmano hi opi bodhavyam, bodhyabhyancha vikarmanaha, bodhabhyancha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha bodhavyam, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi, gahana karmano gatihi. So, now three things have to be understood. Bhagavan says, karmana upihi bodhavyam. Karmana means actions. It is needful to discriminate what is called action. To discriminate what is forbidden action. Akar bodhavyam, vikarmana. Vikarma means which is forbidden. One should not perform those actions. That takes us to more bondage, more suffering. The selfishness and all these negative things which people do, killing somebody, destroying the peace of others, all these things in the society which goes on, in all over the world is going on. Now, it is going on all the time. It is more known to us, more happening in parts because the modern technology has helped us to understand what is going on in one part or the other part of the world. So what is forbidden action? We have to discriminate. This is forbidden action. This is the action needful. I should have to do this work. And inaction. What is called inaction? Inaction is called seeing God in everything is inaction. One can be in action. Inaction means no action. Stage. When? When he sees oneness everywhere. Nothing to do. I am the same everywhere. So what am I to do? Achieve what I shall have to achieve to do anything, because I am that. Inaction is a state of Brahma Jnana. So three things have to be known. Here Bhagavan says, Karmano yopi bodhavyam. What is called action? We have to understand. Bodhabyancha vikarmana. What is vikarmana? Opposite of karma. There is a negative karma, which is detrimental for our forbidden action. And to inaction. What is the real state of inaction? The inaction is not a tamasa quality. Lazy people don't do anything. He is not in action. He is lazy. And Brahma Jnani par excellence does not do anything because he sees Brahman everywhere. There is nothing to achieve, nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Because only one. Who will lose whom? Who will gain what? So that is the inaction stage, the Brahma Jnana stage. Inscrutable is the way of karma. So this is the way. Karmana gahana gati. Gati, this karma has this wonderful train to take us to liberation, take us to bondage. And this is the uniqueness of this karma principle. And we are bound by karma. We may not be good for meditation, we may not be good for analytical path of Jnana Yoga, or bhakti yoga, but action everyone does. In the whole world, everyone is doing some work. From morning till night, he'll have to do. Whether it is for good or for bad or whatever, for expecting something, attached to work or detached to work you will have to do. You sitting down, you are thinking, that's also work. There is no one for a moment can live in the world without action. But how to do the action, which is they call action leading to freedom, what is called the don't do this karma. It is a negative karma. It is to avoid that karma. That is the forbidden karma, and they discriminate the action, inaction. So that will be more clarified in the next verses. So 3 things we learn here, that we need to analyze and understand what is called action or karma, and what is karma, it is a forbidden action, which is detrimental for spiritual growth, and what is called the real inaction, means no action, state. It is a state. It is not to be just sitting idle, becoming a Brahmajnani. So now the 18th verse on 289 talks about the what is called karma. What is called karma? He is defining karma here. Karmani akarmaja pashet, karmani akarmaja pashet, akarmani cha karmaja, akarmani cha karmaja, sabuddhiman manusyeshu, sajukta Krishna karma krit, sajukta Krishna karma krit, sajukta Krishna karma krit. So, karmani akarmaja passet. There's very confusing words. Karmani in karma, karmani in 7th derivative, karmani akarmaja passet, one who sees no karma. Tremendously active, but he is not doing anything as it were. He feels, I have done nothing. Doing so much work, but thinking he is not doing anything. His mind will tell, I don't do anything. It's body-mind functioning. All the actions happening because of my mind is directing my senses, and senses are directing the organs, and my hand is moving, mouth is speaking. It is all the functionality of the organs of actions, they are working. In that karmani in action, akarma in action, those who see the inaction. And akarmani cha karma cha, and in inaction, where there is no action, there is seeing that tremendous activity. Silent person doing tremendous activity. And now some people do very little and make a show, shouting, howling, and those who are doing real work, very silently at the back, things are going on. No? So these are the two attitudes. So he is one who sees inaction in action, and in inaction, action. He is wise among men. And buddhiman, he is the buddhiman, means he is very intelligent. He is to be called an intelligent person, buddhiman. Manushyasu, among the human society, in the human society, that person will be called a real wise person. And he will be called sajukta. He will be named as a yogi. He is the real yogi. And Krishna karmakit. And he is the accomplisher of every action. Who? Who is that guy? That guy will be seeing in action, activity, he does not do anything in action. And in tremendous action, he is in perfectly calm. So, in opposite, action, inaction, inaction, action. So that is the person who succeeds that. He is called a knower of truth. He is called a wise person. He has accomplished the purpose of karma, and through the karma, he has transcended karma. So there is a good note here. We will go through that. This is a very important verse of the Bhagavad Gita, that in action, in tremendous activity, no action. And in no action, tremendous activity. In Vedantic terms, Shankara has explained it in this way, that inaction is Brahman. And in Brahman, all this activity, the creation, sustenance, destruction, everything is going on. So you can see that in that state of absolute consciousness, Brahman, the activity, like the ocean, calm, serene ocean, activity of the ripples, bubbles, foam, all are happening there. You can see it is the ocean only. And in every ripple and wave, in every action, he sees the ocean. It is nothing but the ocean. So that person is totally free from all bondage and suffering. So let us read the note here on page 289. Action is innate in Prakriti. In Prakriti means disbalance. How the world has come out? World has come out because of the disbalance in the Prakriti. What is Prakriti? We know the Prakriti is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Three qualities. In these three qualities, all the time changes. Disbalance. Sattva becomes higher, we call it good society. Rajas, Tamas down. Rajas become bigger, it's the arrogant king, arrogant minister, arrogant president, arrogant this will all come. And then again Tamas comes. They say vilest, rude, like King Herod, like Kamsa, like that type of people will come and people's life will be miserable. So three gunas are always fighting with each other. Who will be the dominant person? Sometimes Sattva quality becomes high, Rajas and Tamas down. Raja quality guy gets up, Sattva quality, Tamas quality pulls their head down, Tamas quality gets up, then other two quality become little less. So this is the combination, and in this combination the whole world is functioning. Consciousness has nothing to do with it. Purusha Prakriti, that example Ramakrishna gave. In an oven, heat is there. Heat does not do anything. Heat does not do anything. It is there. It is. But when Prakriti, you put a pan and with all cooking items inside, water, etc., etc., and then it starts boiling. Activity is done in the Prakriti. Three gunas are boiling. And there you can feel it is hot, it is boiled, it is soft, it is hard, not yet boiled. All these things are going, all the activities in bubbling is going on in the container and the pan or the pot. But the heat, he does not do anything, it is there. So Purusha does not do anything. I am that Satchidananda consciousness, I don't do anything, my real nature. But my Prakriti is doing all these things. And Prakriti is the three gunas performing their own dance. And that is the whole world of dance going. So, Purusha and Prakriti, he who sees the play of the heat in the Prakriti. If there is no heat, you put the pot and pan and then the heat is off. Oven is not put into action. Then what will happen? The thing will remain as it is. They don't do any work. No meal will be prepared. This world will not be prepared at all with diversity. But when the heat is on, it is connected together, so the heat enters into Prakriti. And what is in the Prakriti? The heat of the cooking item is not its original, it is the heat of that which is behind the pot. So the consciousness behind, that is Satchidananda, is percolating through these gunas. All our actions, activities are expression of that consciousness through Prakriti. So that is the idea. Action is innate in Prakriti. Inaction is in the Atman. As I said, just you flame. A flame is there, flame. You put some pot or pan or you bake something or heat water, it matters little. It does not matter. The heat, the burner does not make any discrimination. Whatever you put, it will heat it. So heat as consciousness, Satchidananda self, is the inaction. Brahman, or that is called the self, or the Atman. So Atman is inaction. And action is innate in the Prakriti. Prakriti is there with the touch of the Purusha. It gets all dancing. This whole world is a dancing of Prakriti. That's why we call mother dancing. It's mother's play going on. The whole world is mother's play. And the heat is the unchanging consciousness. So in the consciousness manifesting in the world, it is only the same heat is giving the sustenance of every item. So it is what we are seeing, it is all God we are seeing. But we don't know, we name it as name and form and we call it Prakriti. So Prakriti is one part in action, when it is in action, and Purusha is inaction or Brahman consciousness. The former is kinetic and the latter is static. One is the becoming and another is the being. One is the perishable, another is the imperishable. Atman does not perish, but Prakriti, everything changes, no? The shape and size of the things changes. Every ripple, every wave, every bubble, changing form. But the ocean does not do anything. Ocean is there. And on the ocean, dance of waves and ripples are going on. So this is the thing to understand. That's the highest Vedantic, it's called practical Vedanta. What Swamiji has explained in his lectures, how to make the action in action by this practical Vedanta. It is, we are all serving Satchidananda Brahman. Not knowing, we are thinking it is the Prakriti, the nature, the matter, or the subjective to birth and death, those things we are serving, action. So one is the perishable, another is the imperishable. The ignorant are confused, being unable to distinguish between the two. As we are confused. What is static? What is dynamic? What is static is Brahman, Atman, the self. And what is dynamic is the Prakriti, three gunas. We are unable to understand this simple principle. A passenger in a running train mistakes the nearby trees as running in the opposite direction. Here motion is attributed wrongly to the motionless. Giving an example. The plant, the trees on the side, buildings, they are static object. My train is moving, but the mobility of the train is conferred on the trees and buildings, as if the buildings are passing by. I am sitting there unmoving. So this mistake is happening, that Prakriti is running and I think I am running. Here motion is attributed wrongly to the motionless. Action is seen in inaction due to ignorance. When we see action in inaction, in Brahman we see the world. In the world we want to see the Brahman, then action is seen in the inaction due to ignorance. So when we say a Brahman is working, Brahman does not work. That language is wrong. Brahman is unchanging self, unchanging self. The change should come only in the Prakriti, and unchanging nature is the Atman. So we make a mistake, misunderstand. So action is seen in inaction due to ignorance. A man on the shore mistakes a sailing ship at a distance in the sea as one that stands still. Here inaction is seen in action. This is giving an example. From a distance, if we see this, seeing in the beach, and we see a sailing ship at a distance, it appears in the sea as one, that stands still, as if the ship is not moving. But it is moving, appears to us as non-moving, and that is which is non-moving appears before us as moving. That is the ignorance, play of ignorance. Thus, it is seen that actions and inactions in nature do not always present themselves in their true perspective. So in our relative perception, we do this mistake that Brahman is unmoving, we think it is moving, action, and then Prakriti, which is always moving, we think it is the static thing. The world is real, the God is not real. So that is the concept in simple language. So the characteristics of the one are often imposed on the other due to ignorance. Putting one's characteristic of non-moving nature into the characteristic of one which is moving, and the moving characteristic is put on which is the unmoving. This is because of the ignorance. So 290 page, the ignorant man thinks of himself as the body. Now I work, now I rest. Thus does he transpose the functions of Prakriti on Atman. Mistaking the non-self for the self is egotism. There is agency in the egotistic man. The agency-laden egotistic man may be sitting quiet, abandoning all his duties, but in that inert state he is verily doing karma. Thus ignorant condition is designated as action in inaction. So in that ignorant condition, one is thinking that action is thought to be inaction. In contrast with this, there is no trace of egoism in the man of a self-realization. A man who has realized God, he has no personal ego. So while his body works incessantly, that's why Lokeshwarananda Swami running here and there, and all our other great Swamis we have seen, they're tremendously busy every moment with their action, but they're not doing any action. So that's why giving the example, this ignorant condition is designed as action in inaction. In contrast to this, there is no trace of egoism in the person who is self-realized. While this body works incessantly, the self remains as a witness. Atman is now nowise entangled in karma. The sense of overwork, underwork, or neglect of duty is not in the knower of the self. That's why there is no rest for them. They do work till the day die. They work, they are so much, but they feel that they are not doing work. So they get the tremendous energy to work more. We get tired because our body-mind is connected there. And those who can go beyond body-mind, they can work much more than we do. This supreme position is recognized as inaction in action. Only they who have attained self-knowledge and they who are on the right path of self-knowledge can be in this benign state. That is Shankaracharya's opinion. Now, he is giving another opinion of Madhya Ramanujacharya and also talking about Madhacharya. It's a qualified non-dualistic philosophy and Vedanta philosophy is Shankara. Now he is talking from the perspective of qualified non-dualism, and then he will talk about the dualistic philosophy, explaining the same verse from three perspectives. Oh, it is a big one. So it is only, we have 10 minutes. We'll read another Ramanuja only. Then we'll do the rest next day. Second, now Ramanuja talks about that activities taking place in and through the body, mind and senses. They are designated as karma or action, and knowledge supreme as akarma or inaction. A man earnestly takes to cooking. He occupies himself with cooking. This results in his acquiring knowledge of cookery. That increases his knowledge, how he learns to cook, better cook. Seeing in action is the process of adding to one's knowledge by doing one's duty properly. So there Ramanuja says that one's efficiency grows by doing karma more perfectly, and knowledge about that karma increases. He who has a wide knowledge in cookery is able to execute that art efficiently. This leads to seeing action in inaction. That means his knowledge is increasing, so it is, but his action is, his focus is not in the action. So in doing much work, he is not working as it were. This leads to the seeing action in inaction. This way karma enriches knowledge. Karma is helping him to enrich his knowledge, and knowledge brings in proficiency of the work. So their idea is that seeing karma, doing karma, he is not attached with the karma, but he is only increasing his efficiency to do karma. Karma known as living a righteous life culminates in self-knowledge. And Madhacharya says, Ramanuja says, that if you go on karma, doing more perfectly with knowledge, increasing your knowledge, then what efficiency will grow, much more grow. Everyone knows that any action done repeatedly, they become more efficient. And that is the concept of Indian class system was there. Those who are potters. Potters can do quickly any pot. The shoe shiner, Swami Vivekananda said, he has, by doing the action of shining the shoes, he has earned that proficiency that he can do it so better, in a better way. And that knowledge increases, and that knowledge gives him efficiency, and that efficiency comes down, and this way he more perfected, and one day he will realize his own perfect nature. So, karma known as living righteous life culminates in self-knowledge. The man of self-knowledge discharges his earthly duties to the best of his ability. Karma and Gana are complementary to each other. That is the Ramanuja's idea, called Jnana and Karma. Then Madhva will say something, and there are so many views have been given. I will read them next day. Okay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanam Astu.